Hello, everyone. Coming up here on the Pro Wrestling Show presents the Raw Ring Report. What a pro wrestling show we have you as we are on the road to day one. As we see a lot going on here, as we can see this right here, Bobby Lashley. Is Bobby Lashley becoming a babyface? Right before our own very eyes. Only time we tell Bobby Lashley was kind of making moves of being a babyface moves and stuff, getting cheered and him leaving MVP high and dry. What's going on with that? Also, too, Big E and Bobby Lashley with me at day one in that gigantic WWE Championship match in a fatal four way. But Bobby Lashley's feeling a threat between Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens, which Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens may be having their own alliance coming down the road very shortly. Only time will tell on that. Plus, two, AJ Styles was a guest on Miz TV. Is AJ and Omos putting their differences aside? Only time will tell. Speaking of the Miz had his issues with his wife Maurice after leaving her high and dry and leaving her doing stuff that many people wouldn't thought Miz would not do to his wife, but only time will tell if the Miz and Edge with their continued ride when they have their feud at day one. One time will tell on that one. Plus two, Brock Lesnar showing a new personality that many people didn't see coming. He's been bringing out his new personality in midst of him challenging Roman Reigns for the championship, the Universal title at day one in Atlanta. We'll get to that. And two, people are sick and tired about the Veer Mahan promo that they're asking when they're gonna have a new promo out coming soon. Well, I don't know about that one. We'll talk about that on Hot Topics. But for the Pro Wrestling Show, we get to the latest. It's Pro Wrestling Show starts right now. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Pro Wrestling Show. I'm your host, as always, Kendrick Dix here. Glad you can join us here on the Pro Wrestling Show. Here, this is the Pro Wrestling Show. Like I said, join in the conversation using the hashtag Pro Wrestling here on Connect. Don't forget, don't forget to subscribe. Subscribing is caring. Tell a friend, call a friend, hit the subscribe button so you won't miss a thing here on the Pro Wrestling Show. So we got a lot of news to get to, but let's get to the nitty gritty. Let's get to the Raw Ring Report. On the Raw Ring Report this week, Raw Ring Report, we kicked off with former WWE champion Lashley starting off the show. Lashley kicked off the show talking about his opportunity of challenging Big E, challenging Seth Rollins, and Kevin Owens to the championship match. Well, Bobby Lashley got confronted by Big E, and they were talking about wanting to scruffle down, but Big E wanted to scruffle down with MVP. Bobby Lashley left MVP high and dry. MVP fend for himself. MVP, a former United States champion. But at the end, Bobby Lashley was out there and got ambushed and attacked behind from Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins, who feel Lashley shouldn't be in the championship picture in the first place. They feel like he's a threat to the championship that kind of take their odds of not winning the title. Well, Lashley took care of both of them. Lashley hitting that maneuver on Seth Rollins, taking him down, as well as Big E taking down Kevin Owens. So this solidifies Kevin Owens' turn to his heel. But we'll get to later as Big E teams up with Lashley to take on the team of Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins in the main event. Speaking of matches, we know that Doudrop has been a thorn on Bianca Belair's side for weeks. Well, Bianca Belair wanted to prove that she can take on Doudrop, and she did so with Doudrop. She picked Doudrop, trying to use her power and physique to take down Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair and Doudrop having that feud in that match. And see Bianca Belair with her strength, her grit. Bianca Belair slammed Doudrop to the ground. Even she picked up Doudrop and did the KOD on Doudrop and won the match. Bianca Belair could be rebuilding herself down the road to get that championship match against Becky once again, hopefully. So we'll talk about that later. But Bianca Belair looking strong, her strong showing, picking up Dewdrop and hitting the KOD on Dewdrop, leaving Dewdrop motionless. But speaking of that, Finn Balor, the first Universal Champion in WWE history, took on Mr. McMahon's pet, Austin Theory. Austin Theory trying to make a name for himself on Finn Balor's expense. Finn Balor taking down Theory. Theory trying to hold those blows and stuff after he ambushed Finn Balor for weeks now by smiling and taking pictures. He's done that with Jeff Hardy till Jeff Hardy left and stuff. Well, Theory trying to prove to Mr. McMahon. Mr. McMahon been teaching him advice and giving him ample enough advice about the pencil, the eraser, and stuff. But Theory didn't catch his eye on the ball, and Theory lost his match to Finn Balor, and Finn Balor won quickly over Austin Theory. But Theory had to go back to Mr. McMahon. Mr. McMahon said, "You're gonna redo that. You're gonna have a rematch with Finn Balor, and you're gonna redo it again. But this time, you got to win." So Theory's got to do something to win over Mr. McMahon and win over the match over Finn Balor next week on Raw. Speaking of that, The Miz hosted his talk show, Miz TV, and he brought his guests, AJ Styles and Omos. The former Raw Tag Team Champions were in the hot seat as they both having disagreements with each other about things now. Well, Miz and AJ was doing tit for tat, where AJ called out Miz for his disagreements with his wife about leaving her high and dry against Edge. And Miz said the same thing about AJ about, hey, almost ready to move on from you, but you don't want to move on from almost. So it was like that. Well, AJ and almost got a bye, and they went against the Mysterios. Okay, the match where you see Dominic goes against AJ. AJ hit that Pele kick. This is the match era I want to see. AJ Styles versus Rey Mysterio, like a feud or something. But we got a one-time thing. So AJ Styles taking on Mysterios. Mysterios won the match. Now they earned the tag team championship match, but would something happen to the Mysterios down the road for them not being tag team champions? Will they see that breakup between the father and son? Only time will tell on that, because you have to wonder with AJ and on almost right here, this was the breakup happened. AJ almost split up. It was, I don't know, it was an amicable split or what, but it was a split, and they ain't no longer tag team no more. AJ almost decided to slam down AJ and beat down AJ and lead AJ down to the mat. Yes, this is the end between AJ Styles and Almost. Well, speaking of that, Randy Orton took on Chad Gable in a competitive match between the two of them. Randy Orton not with Riddle. Riddle is the star of the show. When he asked me, Riddle is the star. Matt Riddle knows. Matt Riddle keeps that comedy relief going. So one thing about Matt Riddle probably could be on NXT tonight. You never know. But Randy Orton won his match, but he was trying to do the RKO on what that big guy named Otis. I guess Randy Orton will go against Otis next week on Raw. Speaking of that, the United States Championship qualifying match between, if Dolph Ziggler pinned what's his name? Damian Priest, he gets a U.S. title match. To compare the matchup, Ziggler, a former U.S. champion in his own right, went against Priest, but at the end, Priest won. So now we know that Dolph Ziggler will begin a championship match next week between the two. Well, we know Miz and Maurice having problems as of late. They started last week, Miz and Maurice. Now Maurice was on the cutting edge talking about her issues with her husband, the Miz, and how they can resolve it and stuff. Well, we knew it was a setup. It was a setup. Edge knew it was a setup. Why would you invite her on the show in the first place? You knew you were gonna get set up. I guess to enhance the storyline, I guess further. Well, Miz took advantage and hit the skull crushing finale on Edge, while him and Maurice celebrated, leaving Edge high and dry in the ring, and they just out there making out doing PDA. Well, this husband wife duo, everyone's been talking about when Beth Phoenix show up. I think she has to show up eventually. I think that's why she took off on NXT, so she can start training now. Well, guess she got to get back to the body she once had and stuff. Let you know how they go. Speaking of that, Rhea Ripley, former women's champion, took on Queen Zelina in a rematch, and Rhea Ripley took on Queen Zelina and got done with Queen Zelina, kicked in the left leg with kicks. And all of a sudden, she hit the riptide on Rhea Ripley, get the 1-2-3. Rhea Ripley proving her worth here on Raw. Now we know the women's championship was an online video surface that Liv Morgan tried to attack Becky Lynch in her school for her and her husband Seth Rollins runs and tried to get it heads up. Well, Liv Morgan came out there over here, tried to attack Becky, tried to call out Becky Lynch and said, "Hey, come out here." Becky Lynch came out there with a fur coat. Becky Lynch came out there talking, and her and Liv Morgan with me at day one for the Raw Women's title. So, like I said, we'll see between these two women because this rivalry has intensified, if you ask me, between the two. So, and then we talked about the Dolph Ziggler and yeah, we talked about that match. Speaking of that, what's the main event? As Lashley teamed up with Biggie, the WWE champion, to take on Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens. We know these four men will be in the WWE Championship Fatal 4-Way match. So Bobby Lashley being impressive, picking up Seth Rollins and dropping him down with a suplex. Seth Rollins not wearing that outrageous stuff. Him and his wife, Becky Lynch, them the two most outrageous couple. They just like to wear outrageous stuff. They like find a flair for fashion. Well, as you see right here, Big E delivered a belly suplex to Kevin Owens. Even did a somewhat jumping rock bottom. Seth Rollins tried to deliver a frog splash to Big E, leaving Big E to the mat and stuff, leaving him out and high and dry. But at the end, it was no contest. And you see right here, Seth Rollins tried to deliver the curve stop to Lashley. And at the end, it looked like Rollins and Kevin Owens have found a new alliance. And I think now they're just yes, they just found new alliance. They wanna take down Big E by doing that. So hey, on time will tell. Next week will be the go home show day one. We'll keep you covered and keep you posted on the go home show day one. So that ends the Raw Ring report. So let's move forward. Let's move forward to hot topics. On hot topics this week, well, hot topics we have as many people are talking about the Ty Conti situation. As Ty Conti, there's been rumors allegedly that's been reported that she and Sammy Guevara are dating, and they blame some of the internet wrestling fans blame her for causing Sammy Guevara and his ex-fiance Pam to get to break up. So Only time will tell on that one. We'll see. But Ty Conti deleted her Twitter account because she was getting flooded with hate mail and she didn't want that. So, know how that go. Also, too, was rumors, speculations that Charlotte, Flair, and Andrade are still together. Andrade posted this tweet that King and Queen, so they're still together. I don't know who started that rumor that they're no longer were together. So, well, kind of weird that. Well, we don't know, but Andrade saying put the rumors to rest that him and Charlotte are together. Even so, the speaking of couples, Miro and Lana, who was from WWE, they went to the premiere of The Matrix Reloaded. Miro dressing like a Matrix and Lana dressing like a Matrix. Good God. Speaking of that, Davey Richards, who I believe could give Daniel Bryan a run for his money. Davey Richards said he's been offered contracts to come to WWE and AEW, but he turned them down because he's a father and he has more career options as well, like being a firefighter and a doctor or something like that. Davey Richards said that he felt MLW was the place for him because it lightens his schedule. Davey Richards. And Davey Richards, he didn't follow me on Facebook. So hey, give me a friend request. I put a friend request and he accepted it. So hey, Davey Richards, I believe, is one of the great best wrestlers that's out there today. He's an underrated wrestler. Speaking of that, Brock Lesnar showing his personality even more. He took a picture with some lady trying to do the dance or something. So Brock Lesnar showing more and more his personality, and more people like it and enjoy it. Good for Brock of that situation. Also, too, Matt Hardy posted a tweet about Jeff Hardy about what's going on with Jeff. After a couple of weeks ago, Jeff Hardy he had to release Jeff Hardy. Now Jeff Hardy living his life, and people support allegedly that maybe he was off of rehab and he refused to go to rehab. We don't know. There have been rumors and reports that the Hardy Boys could have a pending reunion on AEW. It's just when and where. Speaking of tag teams, the Briscoe Brothers could be making their way to AEW to go against FTR as the Briscoe Brothers won to fight FTR. The FTR popped up at the Briscoe Brothers Ring of Honor's Final Battle event and tried to challenge them and stuff. So I'm down with tell. Speaking of that, the WWE champion, you see Matt Cardona, life after WWE. He's about to get married in a couple of days now. He posted something about the in his old WWE championship, the internet title, and what it was used for and stuff. It's time. Good. Speaking of that, SmackDown did good. Had the ratings was up 4%, and it was like 2.3 million due to his like the Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, and Heyman show. You ask me, SmackDown's getting good and getting great. And Roman Reigns continues to call himself the needle mover. He's moving the needle. CM Punk was talking about him not moving the needle at all. I think Roman Reigns can hold his own. He's done that. He's proven that on SmackDown. So you know what CM Punk talking about. Nothing against Punk anyway, but I think they're both needle moves. Also, too, Bret the Hitman Hart got inducted to the Canadian Hall of Fame and said that it's the best one than his two WWE Hall of Fames. Wow, he just taking it down. I mean, he'll find any way he can. I don't know why WWE. Yeah, he trying to feel loyal to him because you don't want to get trashed by him again and stuff. So you know how that be, how that go. And finally, RVD showing pictures of himself looking in fantastic shape. RVD looking probably like he's preparing to get back into the ring again. Never know. The former the WWE Hall of Famer, former WWE champion, Impact champion, getting back to show folks that he still got it. As long as he go up there and do that frog splash and do that well, he might be back in business. And then Veer Mahan, they continue on trying to post him about he's coming, and then folks like yes, he died. Not when his impending debut. So only time will tell on that. All right, y'all. Thank you all for watching this edition of the Pro Wrestling Show Raw Ring Report. We hopefully we have something for the AEW and NXT Ring Report when we can. So it's been Christmas week, so it's gonna be a real slow week this week because it's Christmas. So for me being Kendrick Dick saying so long, thank you all for watching this edition of the Pro Wrestling Show. See you later.